Hello everybody, welcome back to Buzzard-Roost. I am Buzzard. I know it's been, I think, a couple of weeks since I put out a video, but let's make this one Family Friends Friday. And of course I got my coffee. It's just kind of a rant, whatever you want to call it. In my neck of the woods here in Oklahoma, pretty much everything's pretty close back to normal. Now you go up around Tulsa and you're supposed to wear a mask all the time. I usually just say no, can't have airflow restrictions. I know it sounds terrible, or some people it may sound terrible. But I go into Lowe's, Walmart, all these places, and just, like I said, when I walk in, they say, you got to wear a mask. I say, no airflow restriction. Anyway, one thing that I did want to talk about was this Kung Flu. I personally know 5 people that's had it, and 3 of them no symptoms whatsoever, and 2 of those 3 have what they call underlying conditions, I think. So I don't know if it's just mutating and it's burning itself out as it mutates. Now, the 4th person I know only lost smell and taste. And she is healthy, but she's also pregnant. So hopefully there's no side effects, Anyway, the last person that I personally know that has it had fell at work, cracked 5 ribs, dislocated her clavicle, and she went to the hospital. Let's see. Anyway, she went to the hospital. This is on a Wednesday, and they sent her home. Done x-rays and stuff. You can't see it. It's back there a little too far. Big old buck. Anyway, she went to the hospital 5 days later. She was having a hard time breathing. And I almost guarantee you they did not put a pulse ox on her, because she had a collapsed lung. So she went into the hospital and spent several days in the hospital, and during that time they tested her for COVID, and she tested positive. Well, things went downhill from there. She had to sleep with I can't remember what, the CPAP, and she was breathing on her own, but she had pneumonia. They finally got the fluid off the lungs, gave her a bunch of antibiotics, and had her on a CPAP. And this lady that I'm talking about is my mom. She is 73 years old. Hope that's right, Mom. Anyway, quite a few days in the hospital. Never had to go on a ventilator. She is home now. She's on supplemented, or they've got oxygen for her. The day before she left, I can't remember if it was the night before that or that morning, it was 55 units of oxygen, which sounds like a lot of oxygen to me. But by that afternoon, she was down to 2 or 3 units of oxygen. So she improved greatly just within hours. But she's home now, and whenever she gets her clavicle pinned back in, she's going to spend a few days. But back to the kind of the gist of this story is, even with underlying problems, sorry about that, this road's rough and the camera just does not want to go where I want it. Anyway, even with underlying issues, health problems, I personally don't feel like it is near as deadly as what I think it was, or what people thought it was. Now, when it first came out, yes, mask. I mean, I made sure I had all the upper respiratory over-the-counter medicines, children's medicine, because really didn't know how bad it was, you know, or how bad it could be. So, yes, we took extra precautions. But now, since that's, what, 5-6 months, have you noticed there's no flu type A or B deaths? There has been no other, it seems like no other types of death, respiratory death. They've all seemed to manage to beat COVID, this COVID-19. So hopefully this video goes up. If it don't, you won't hear about it. But anyway, it's starting to feel more like a controlled collapse. A controlled restart. Personally, I am prepared probably considerably more than a lot of people are. Now, there's several people that watch my YouTubes I know are prepared. They have enough to get them through. But a lot of people that see my videos that aren't subscribed to me, I am going to, lack of better words, assume that maybe they're not as prepared. The shortages I feel like we're going to be getting this winter, you need to be prepared. And you need to be prepared enough to help others if you can. So, like I said, I've got a feeling this is kind of a more controlled, even though the D's are trying to make it chaotic. Trying to make it, can't think of the word now since I said the wrong one, make chaos out of it. They're tightening their grips on the law-abiding citizens and taking the leashes off of the criminals. When you start defending criminals and going against law-abiding citizens, there's something wrong. And I don't know, I hope America's strong enough to get through this. Anyway, I got a car coming towards me here. For all who don't know already, I'm still on a private road. It's a mile long, rough as a corn cob. And as I've said before, if you look up in the dictionary, rough road, it'll have a picture of my road, or I'm pretty sure it would. Anyway, like I said, it's a private road, so bugs. So keep preparing, keep buying extra food. Buy, if you've already got a fairly robust pantry, buy some of your high calories, the rice, the beans, things like that, stuff that easy to prepare and you get a lot of nutrition out of them. My Let's Do It Together videos I do every other week now instead of every week, because I try to avoid going to town as much as possible. My little town that's close to me is less than 5,000. We had 3 or 4 teenage white girls that our protest, holding up BLM signs, and that was pretty much it. Around here, around a lot of parts of Oklahoma, their citizens are well armed and don't put up with near as much. Now, when Trump had his rally in Tulsa, you know, the law enforcement has to put in for replacement of items used. And from what I was understood is they had to replace 1,000 rounds of 12 gauge bean bags. Now, of course, you didn't hear nothing about that on the media. That's because they quelled it. Now, there was rioting, a little bit of rioting. I don't know if there was looting, but there was definitely some rioting, and the police handled it very well. Now, what people don't realize, the reason it didn't get out of hand in Tulsa is law enforcement, federal agents, and the National Guard, from what I understood, all deployed to help minimizing. Now, after a while, of course, after the Trump rally, a lot of the federal agents, which I know one personally, said that where he was at, it was really quiet. There was a news reporter, and the cameraman he talked with the cameraman before the lady started talking. Cameraman agreed with him. I mean, you know, it was ridiculous, it was stupid, you know, things were being blown out of proportion. And then the news reporter lady done her talk, and she was reading off a teleprompter. The area they was showing, they claimed, you know, no one showed up, or very few showed up. But she didn't start reporting until they closed the doors and wasn't allowing no one in. And then a lot of those people went over to a park area, if I remember right, to listen to the Trump rally from outside. And from what I understand, they didn't have a lot of issues. Of course, 1,000 rounds of 12 gauge beanbag. There was a lot of bruised protesters, trust me. And they was arresting people too. Like the Tulsa, the mayor, like he said, be warned, this ain't Seattle. And Oklahoma ain't Washington State. We'll put up with a lot less crap from these degenerate, thuggery, violent, unlawful people. So, get prepared. It could get a whole lot worse. Between the election, food shortages, and all that stuff, the rioting, or the way the mainstream put it, peaceful protest, which is a crock. Get prepared. Get you some food. Make sure you can protect yourselves. Trust me, my family and neighbors and stuff are deer hunters, or like myself, I used to be a state trapper. I've dealt being by myself out in the woods. So people around here, like I said, don't put up with a lot of crap. And they will defend their families to the death. So which I doubt, any of these worthless people see this video, keep your crap out of my area, because we won't put up with it. Anyway, be safe all. Get to know your neighbors, because one day you may depend on them to help protect you and your family. Remember, only dead fish follow the flow of the stream. Don't be a dead fish. This is Buzzard. See ya.